What's up?
The camera
Yeah,
will
you
turn around.
believe so.
Shit.
Yeah.
Huh? The camera should be able to turn.
Yeah. Try it.
Oh, there it is. Hold on. No, doesn't. Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry. I haven't used Zoom in a
No
hot minute.
worries. It's still front facing right now.
Perfect. Oh, that's
Totally fine. Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
Working beautifully.
I
All right.
honestly haven't used Zoom in forever, so.
Well, we're glad to have you on. Welcome, guys, to our next panel for Tropicon Live. We're here live from my living room, wherever the hell you guys are. We're starting up with our next panel with our good friend of the show, Peat Vazquez from Fat Guy Inc. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Thank you, Patrick, for having me this weekend. I'm super excited. Thank you, Tropicon, for having me as well. I'm super excited to be here. Yeah, we live in a really weird world these days, but that's okay. Hopefully, you're all home, having a good time, safe and sound, you and your family. We're going to see you guys soon. I promise we'll see each other soon. We all miss cons and we'll hang out and we'll see each other. But luckily, we have this amazing opportunity to talk to you guys virtually. And we're all safe and inside our homes, inside air conditioning. So that's pretty fantastic. What I'm going to do is, you're not going to be looking at this wonderful face and this glorious beard the whole time. I'm going to flip the camera around. In fact, I'm going to do that now. Whoopsies. And that's a blank sheet of paper. So first things first, I'm going to give you guys, my name is Pete. I am one half of Fat Guy Inc. My partner, Brendan, he is in the Massapequa studios right now hanging out. But this is where you can find me on the social medias. Instagram, my personal one with the arrow there, Pete11717. The studio, of course, is Fat Guy Inc. 2014. And then on Facebook, also facebook.com. Pete11717 is my personal studio. And then the Fat Guy Inc. studio is there too. Today, I'm going to be talking to you all about art supplies. So I'm going to put down this little list here. So you guys, I'm going to talk through all this list and all this information. You can find, I have them as a highlighted story that says art supplies on my Instagram, the Pete117171. So you can check that out and hang out and enjoy that. Okay. So that being said, let's jump into it a little itty bitty bit. We're gonna give you a quick intro to what I'm going to talk about, which is obviously art supplies, but we're also going to let you know about a couple other things. First thing I want to let you know about art supplies is, obviously, I'm an artist. I draw, I paint, I do all those things. We're not going to talk about the painting stuff because that'll be like a 3-hour long panel, and I don't want to do that to I don't want to do that to the next guest. But I do want to talk to you guys about, these are the art supplies that I like to use. There are so many choices and so many opportunities for you to use different kind of things to make whatever art, or even just scribble and doodle or whatever you want. So there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I always tell people it always starts with this: a regular old number 2 pencil that you started using in kindergarten or first grade, or whatever it is we allow kids to use pencils now. So whatever you can do to make a mark on a piece of paper, that's the way you can go with it. Okay. So, and if anybody has any suggestions or anything like that, shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Let me know what you use, because I'm always looking to use different things and try out different mediums, because you never know what works best for you. So now the list here are just some places where I like to go shopping for my supplies and some of the brands that I use. Okay. The first, and this is in no particular order, I use dickblick.com, blick.com. If you're out here on the Long Island, you've seen them in Carl Place. There's a big store in the city too, in Soho. They're fantastic. Another place, you've seen these guys at New York Comic Con a lot, Jerry's Artorama. They're always sending emails and stuff. They always have some pretty good sales. The other site I use, and I use this one a lot, is jetpens.com. It's a Japanese website, but don't worry, it's all in English. But it has like millions of different kinds of supplies, from paper to backpacks to folders to pens to pencils to ink, even some paint and erasers and stuff like that. So it's got all sorts of things. And they usually used to do, if you order $25 or more, you get free shipping. But right now they're not doing that because of, obviously, we're having some pandemic issues. So also, we scroll down here. These are just some of the brands that I use, and I'm going to talk about some of them. There's tons of other brands, and there's tons of other nameless brands that I use. And let's be honest with you, kids, I definitely use, from time to time, dollar store supplies. That's actually where this pencil came from. the dollar store, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with using dollar store crayons, dollar store markers, dollar store pens, whatever. I have a ton of dollar store pens that I use as well, and I even grab some brushes for when I do watercolors with dollar store stuff. So dollar store is definitely a useful place. And let's face facts, art supplies are a little expensive, and well, it's good to have coupons. Also, I should put this back. Speaking of coupons, since we're going to dive into this, obviously we all shop on Amazon. You can just type the name of whatever it is you're looking for. Pencil, it'll come up. We all know how to use Amazon. Hobby Lobby and Michaels have, and these are their house brands, Master Touch for Hobby Lobby, Artist Loft from Michaels. These stores always have coupons, and that's great for parents and for artists who are, on a bit of a budget like myself. Saving money is always a wonderful thing. So be sure to use those. And again, this list is on the Instagram with the arrow right there. So you can go check it out and not have to worry about, oh, what did that list say? And I'm going to be referring back to this a lot during the show. All right, so let's get into it a little bit since I don't want to rush. And I think I'm going to have a little bit of time to draw a little something with some of these guys. And I'm actually going to scribble stuff so you can see how they work. Obviously, number 2 pencil, we know how that works. We really don't have to go too back into that. The brands that I like to use for drawing pencils are Staedtler and Faber-Castell or Faber-Castell, however you want to pronounce it. It's whatever. You get some cool lines. It's a pencil. It's nothing crazy. Now, the thing with pencils, and this is most anybody knows this, but some folks don't, so I'm going to go through it. Pencils, you'll see the letters on the pencil. So if you can get that. Yeah, there you go. You got H, 2H, 2B, things like that. What does that mean? Well, that's the hardness of the graphite in the pencil. So an H is a harder graphite, and it goes all the way up to like 8H, which is a really super hard graphite. Then you have the Bs, which are softer graphites, and you go all the way 2B, 3B, 4B, all the way up to 8. And those are really soft and blendy, and you can play with those. And then we'll get into charcoals and stuff, but we're not going to talk about those today. I like to use, when I'm drawing an initial drawing, an H or a 2H. That's really hard to see. Sorry about that. Only because it's not a super hard line, and it erases really well, and I'm able to control it a little bit more, but I still can see what it is that I'm drawing. Now, we're going to talk about erasers too, but the first thing we're going to talk about is pencil sharpeners. What if your pencil breaks? Well, there's a couple options where you can do things with. Obviously, I have an electric pencil. Yes, that's say hi to Batman. I have an electric pencil sharpener, which is great, but I also have this thing that I found in the art supply. This is a pencil sharpener and I don't have a broken pencil. So the first hole, and it holds the shavings and it brings extra blades. The first hole you sharpen, and it extends the lead, so it cuts the wood down and extends the graphite out. And then the second blade sharpens the graphite, so you get a nice line. So this is cool when you're traveling because A, it doesn't make a huge mess, but B, you're always going to get a nice sharp line. And this you can find on Amazon, and I think you can look it up as a double-barreled sharpener, and you'll find it and things like that. Also, what I use, and lots of artists use this, and these are great. I absolutely adore these mechanical pencils and lead holders. We'll talk about mechanical pencils first. This is a mechanical pencil. You all know this. You tap this, and then the lead comes out. Well, the graphite, comes out from the tip, and then you can make cool lines and all that fun stuff. These are the lead refills that usually come in. It'll tell you the size, and it'll match with. This one's really old, so it's beat up. This is the wrong lead for this pencil, but that's okay. Slide it out and slide it back in and load it back up. Sometimes they all come apart a little bit differently, but the tip moves off. Some of them you can load from the top, but these are fun, and it'll give you kind of you won't have to worry about sharpening. You just keep pumping until you run out of graphite. Sorry, but it's a fantastic little tool, and it saves you time. It's easy for traveling, makes it a little bit less of a mess. So keep that in mind. The one that I use primarily is a lead holder, and then this same premise. You pump, it gets longer, but yeah, there you go. What it is you get one whole shaft of lead, graphite. Man, I'm not going to stop doing that, so I'm just going to stop. And then what you do is, you see how that extended up a little bit? Woo, woo. Sorry, got to make the noises. Put your lead in there, and then you can draw. And then there's a separate sharpener for this. I kind of scratch it out and try to get a chisel point, and you can kind of see that there a little bit. It's really hard to see, but again, gives you lines, lets you hold the lead differently. And sometimes the lead holders come like this, which are really cool. The little top comes off, and then you shake it a little bit, and hey, you get lead to come out. The cool part about these also is that the leads come in all your 2H, 3H, 4B, whatever, all your different weights. So, and all your different hardness, sorry, so that you can have different styles and things like that, and you can use it differently however you see fit. Now, we're going to stop for 2 seconds and talk about paper and erasers, because I promised we would do that. First thing we got going on is the paper. This you can use. First off, you can use loose leaf paper. Doesn't matter. You could use regular printer paper, copy paper. If you just want to draw and doodle and have fun and stuff like that, that's great. If you want to do things a little bit more permanent, obviously you can go to any of the stores I mentioned before, or even Amazon. You can get yourself a sketchbook. You can get yourself a pad. What I use is Bristol board, and I'm going to show you right now. I use 2 brands. I use the Canson here, and I also use Strathmore. Same thing. So I'm not gonna break out a Strathmore right now, but as you can see, that's this. I use different sizes, so the size doesn't really matter. But the weight is what matters to me. And it doesn't mean that the paper is like super heavy. It's how hard the paper is and how it holds the material, the toothiness they call it, how it holds the medium that you're using on it. So I use 100 pounds, which means it's a strong cardstock. It's a strong, yeah, lots of people call them cardstocks too. It's got some weight to it as opposed to like a sheet of paper, which is kind of looser. So it'll give you different effects and stuff. These also hold ink and markers and stuff like that a little bit better. I also use watercolor paper, which is perfect for when you're using watercolors. However, you can use watercolors on this stuff, and I'm going to show you about that too. The other thing we're going to talk about erasers. I primarily use 2 different kinds of erasers. And they are, as I had a moment, sorry. The kneaded eraser is first. You've seen this in school. It looks like a big piece of Play-Doh, which it pretty much feels that way. Ooh, that hurt, but I'm okay. You can stretch it and pull it, and it'll erase for you. See, that's all gone. And then you could, use different pressures to get more or to get less off. And then as it gets dirty, you can clean it by kneading it, kneaded eraser in and of itself. Pretty cool. The other thing I like to use, I lost it. It's gone. I found it. I like to use, it's a high polymer plastic eraser. This is the Pentel brand, but lots of others. Staedtler makes a brand. A bunch of others make a brands. And again, I'll have that list on my Instagram. You can go check it out. It's already on my highlights, written as art supplies. Go check that out. And then these are great because these are just precision, and you're just erasing and getting stuff off the paper. Now, sometimes you will get a little bit of the shrapnel there. I use a little big wire brush, bristle brush, clean, yay. All right, now we're gonna get to the fun stuff. We're gonna start talking about ink. Let me take a sip of water though, really quickly. Sorry about that. Ink. We're gonna start from the beginning with ink. Excuse me. You've seen artists use different styles of pens, markers, things like that. But we're going to start with the 2 traditional first, that where your comic books and all their stuff originally started. Jack Kirby inked like this, and all Stan Lee inked like this, and all those guys inked like this. And I'm going to show you a couple different brands of ink, and I'm going to show you the tools. These, and your parents or your old or might remember, these are called crow quills or nibs, ink nibs, and these are great. You have a nib like this one. They're about that big, and then you put them into a holder like this one. This is using this one recently, so it's a little beat up. But you put your nib into here, then you dip it in the ink, which is this. And then you get to make all sorts of fun lines and things like that with it. As far as nibs and nib holders used, again, I have some information on the highlights on my Instagram, but I like using deleter holders. That's a brand. It's a Japanese brand, which is fantastic. I also like using, this one's brand new, so you can get a really good look at it. I use a brand of nibs called Tachikawa, the G Pen, and they're phenomenal. They give you a really crisp line, and you can really do, you've seen a lot of my stuff, but I'll show you more a little bit later. Just the line work that you can get with it is really precise, and you can do all sorts of different effects with it and things like that. You can use a pen. You can use a ballpoint pen too. You don't have to buy all these fancy things. Trust me, this is just what I like to use. Now, at the same time, you don't have to necessarily use these at all if you want to do that, because a lot of inkers, past and present, also use brushes. These two are brushes I got recently from Jerry's. They were on a sale, and they're acrylic brushes. They're not real, they're not animal hair brushes. So for the vegans out there, and you can dip these in the ink and get different line weights and all sorts of stuff like that. I got a bunch that I could do watercolors with too, and I'm going to show you something about that in a little bit. The inks I use, everybody uses different inks and things like that, but I've kind of found two brands that I like on my own that really work best for me. For black ink, for me, I know it's really impossible to tell because I've been using it. I use the Liquitex acrylic ink. It just really works for me. It's a solid ink, gets you really nice, deep, solid blacks. You can erase over it. So sometimes if you ink and you have to erase your pencils, the black won't smear or disappear or get faded or anything like that. It is absolutely phenomenal. For colors and for some blacks, I've also been using Dr. Phil's. This is a pretty popular brand. Phenomenal ink, mixes really well. You can blend it with other inks. You can create new colors. Absolutely phenomenal. I definitely recommend it. And I know we're going to talk about white for a second. Lots of artists don't like using white ink. They use it for special effects and stuff, or even maybe a little bit for mistakes. They try to find one or two that works best for them. I personally enjoy Dr. Phil's. Makes you bleed proof white. It's a pretty thick white, and it gets the job done. It covers up really well, but it's fantastic for special effects. I use it for like making like splashy rain effects and things like that. It's phenomenal for that. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, other times you want to use different things for your ink effects. And let's see if I can do this. Perfect. I had a black piece of paper ready for this, so you can see what I was doing with white. There's other ways you can use. First and more traditionally, you could just take a white colored pencil. And look, this could be Crayola, this could be Prismacolor, this could be dollar store, this could be anything. That gives you a little bit more control, and it's a lot of fun. You can also find a white pink marker. A white pink marker? No, that's not the right word. A white paint marker. And you can use these also, the ones that you shake and you pump. These are fantastic too. And you can find these at any art supply store. The paint markers you can find at any art supply store or at any of the websites that I have down. The other thing that I use, and I think this one's out. Yeah, this one's out, but that's okay. I have another one. I use also, a lot of artists use these, and these are great. It's not an original idea for me. It's something, this is correction tape. Yes, you got it right, whiteout. I use whiteout because whiteout gives you an opportunity to get some cool effects. And because it's still kind of wet, you can smear it with your finger and get all sorts of cool trippy effects and stuff like that. And depending on the kind of white liquid correction paper that you get, you can splash it all over the place and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. I know my business partner doesn't like it when we're sharing the table and I'm splashing white ink all over the place, but hey, that's okay. I try not to get anything on him, so it works out. Now, sorry about that. Now we're talked about ink a little bit, but now we really got to talk about the pens that we use and different brands and different styles and all sorts of that. So we will start with, we'll start with the original. Everybody knows this guy. It's a Sharpie. Sharpies are universally known. I use them for a couple things. I try to not use them for artwork though, because Sharpies aren't super archival, meaning that the Sharpie will die out after a period of time. It's a long time, but a while. I know people sign autographs and stuff, but I wouldn't do big fields of black with a Sharpie, like a big, huge Sharpie like this one or something like that, only because it'll turn brown or rusty color after a few years. And that's kind of, yeah, I mean, you still get the cool lines with the Sharpies, and they're pretty cool. But the other thing that we use to make lines and black lines and to ink things are technical pens. Tech pens are phenomenal. Okay. And there's different brands and there's different stuff. I use 4 different brands because they just give you a different line. And I found stuff on sale, to be completely honest. I'm pretty loyal to this brand. The first one we're going to use is Micron. And now all of these are going to come in different sizes from thinnest to widest. I think 0.05 all the way up to 1 and 2. So everywhere in between. So 0.3, 0.4, all that stuff. And that just means that the point is going to be a little bit wider than the other. This is a 0.8 micron pen. So you get kind of a chubbier line. But then you can go ahead and grab, even better. This is an 0.1 micron pen, so it's very thin, and you get a really thin line. So you can get different line weights for shading, for, whatever really you're going to use them for. And these are the microns. I love these. They run out, not fast, but if you're like at a show, like let's say New York Comic Con or Tropicon, if I was drawing today at Tropicon, I'd probably go through 1 or 2 of them. Like they would probably dry out a little bit if I'm consistently drawing. But if you're just drawing regularly, they'll last you a while, and they come in packs. And like I said, most of these companies, these stores have coupons, so you can use them. Now, this one's going to be funny. We're going to talk about this one for a while here on Long Island. This is the Premier brand. This brand might be a little bit harder to find because this was the in-house brand for AC Moore here on Long Island. Obviously, AC Moore, now I don't know how they did post-pandemic, or how they are during the pandemic, but I know they were going out of business for a while. But I also knew that Michaels was picking up a lot of their stuff and a lot of their stores. So you may be able to find Premier bands. You can look it up on Amazon, or maybe even Michaels. You could probably try to look it up and see if any of it's there. But this is a brush tip, and they all come with brush tip advantages, and that's cool. So it's like drawing with a brush, inking with a brush. So you can get a straight line, thin, thick, thin, thick, thin, thick, thick, thick. You can do all sorts of stuff like that. This is a pretty cool brand. And again, it's pretty inexpensive. One of my favorite brands to use, and these guys, a word about Staedtler. They make a lot of the stuff for architects and a lot of graphic stuff. So a lot of the tools that I'm going to show you in a minute are going to be from Staedtler. Like the lead holder was a Staedtler. One of the pencils was a Staedtler. Their quality is pretty good. Not super expensive, not super inexpensive either. But again, if you go to a store with a coupon or things like that, it'll work out for you. And again, all that information is there, I promise. So this is a Staedtler. This is one of my favorite pens in the world. It's a 1.2. So it's a big, fat, thick marker. Lots of fun. But they also they go all the way down to a nice thin 1.2 where you can get cool lines. Now we're going to go into basically the Cadillac of markers, of ink liners. And everybody knows this name, the Copic markers. Everybody knows Copic markers, but Copic also makes multi-liners, pens, which are fantastic. These are definitely a little more expensive, but they can last you forever because 2 of the things that always happen with one of these tech pens is your nib, the tip here, will probably fade or warp or get busted up, or you'll run out of ink. I can't do it here because I don't have a pair of tweezers handy with me and I don't want to ruin it. But you can they sell replacement nibs for Copics that you can pop this right out and pop in a new one and it'll be brand new, which is awesome. And then they also, and this I can do for you, you can pop out the back and refill the ink. So this pen, if it runs out of ink or if the nib gets a little screwy, no problem. Like this nib's already getting a little weird, but that's okay. You can use it. And then once it runs out, or if I wanted to, I could have this nib changed. You can go to Copic.com and check them out. I know right now Copic's going through, they're changing a lot of their materials, so you might want to check that out as well. But you can definitely find these on Amazon. You can definitely find these on Jerry's and on Dick Blick also. So again, all of these places will carry the Copics, so it's no problem whatsoever. Also, And these are more marker. Prismacolor, which is another brand I adore, also makes pens. This is their brush pen, and it is phenomenal. Really nice, rich blacks. And it kind of works really well with the Prismacolor markers, which is where we're going to jump into next. So they make a good brand as well. Again, you can find those absolutely everywhere. Now, people ask, we're going to go back to the pencil really quick because I almost forgot. Pete, what about lines? Yeah, you got lines. Obviously, rulers are rulers. You know what a ruler looks like. We don't have to really worry too much about that. But y'all know what this is. That's a French curve. Again, Staedtler. This is where you can get your fancy lines, curves, things like that. A good French curve is great to have. You don't, again, have to get a Staedtler. I just liked it because I bought it in a set. But again, you can either go to the store or check out Amazon. I think Amazon's a great place to get them because you can just type in French curve or even Google French curve, and you'll get a whole bunch of different options that fit you, that fit your budget, whatever. Again, they have a little one for, little stuff. And it just helps to steady your hand and things like that. I also, two of my best friends, I use a triangle. This one I taped up a little bit just because I didn't want it to pick up things the weird way, or I wanted to raise it. But a triangle is great, right angles. You can measure all sorts of stuff. This is also a nifty travel size. I could put this in my pouch and it'll go real easy. This is my friend. It goes with me everywhere. It's about the size of a sheet of paper. My circles, it's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry what this is. I can't draw circles to save my life. This thing really helps. Draw circles all day long. My best friend. I love it. It's great. I absolutely love it. We're going to talk about markers now. Color. We're finally going to color. This white sheet of paper is going to go away now. There are two brands that I adore, and I will be talking to you about. Three brands, actually. Four. Wow, four. I went from 3 to 4. Wow. The first we're going to talk about is Prismacolor, like I mentioned before. This is their red. Now, a lot of different marker companies. I'm going to open both sides so you can see. Markers are going to come. Every marker is going to come with a bullet tip. Nice, short, like pen type tip. So you can do, line work and things like that. But some, and it doesn't matter what brand, they're all going to do it. Some are either going to come with a brush tip or a chisel tip. The brush tip is going to give you that nice feathering, and you can get different line weights with that. Lots of fun. But the chisel tip works a little differently. And this, first you can get a nice big chunky line, but then you can thin that out a little bit. Or if you use the tip, you can get little lines like that, or you can fill in bigger areas with it. Both of them are useful. I like using both of them. It really doesn't matter to me. I do have, and then I'll give you a pop-up there, little tour there. I do have, I like having my markers handy for me. And that's a travel case, so it works out really well. I do have a lot of the same colors, either in brush tip or chisel tip, because of convenience. No real other thing. It doesn't really matter. You can have it however you want. Another brand that I use that I absolutely adore is the Blick House brand, the Blick House marker. Again, you could go right up top, tickblick.com to get these. These are phenomenal. The Blick Studio markers. And it'll tell you, a lot of them will tell you chisel tip or the nib tip. Great color. They blend really well. Depending on the paper, your marker is going to bleed regardless. It doesn't matter which marker. It's ink and alcohol based a lot of the time, so they're just going to bleed. But these guys, just rich color, really nice and thick, really good spread. It just looks fantastic. The colors really pop, and that's kind of important. You want the colors to pop a little bit. Another brand that I discovered recently a little bit before quarantine, really, I discovered is a company called Bianio. Found them on Amazon when I was looking for markers. The price was right because they're really inexpensive, so I decided to try them out. I got to use a different color besides blue. Nice and thick. They blend pretty well. They last pretty well, but they're not super expensive. So when they do run out, you can replace them. Good, I got a green here. Now we can use a different color. These are fun because, again, They work a lot like Prismacolor. They work a lot like the other markers that I was talking about, but they're a little bit easier on the budget, which is always a good thing. And they work just as well. So they work really well. And I like to bring them to conventions because their gray markers are phenomenal, and that's a big thing for me. I like shading and things like that. So in fact, here you go. Their grays work really well, so you can do different effects and things like that. Next, and in fact, I had another one out here for it, so that's perfect. They also have their black marker. It's really nice and a nice rich dark black, and it works really well for outlines and things. Now we go to the big boy. Obviously, the top of the mountain when it comes to markers. Again, Copic. These are widely regarded as the best brand of markers, and they are. They're fantastic. They blend incredibly. They're very versatile. You can get them again chisel. You can get them the brush, and then again, this is more of a block. So it's got the thing, and it's got the bullet. They also make Copic Chow markers. I think they rebranded the name though, but these are great. Again, I just got to refill them a little bit, and that's what I was going to talk about next. That's the versatility of Copic markers. They blend. Again, you can get a coupon at most stores and get them a little bit less expensive if you want to try them out. You don't have to, just because a lot of people use them. I only have a few that I don't really use all the time. I kind of use them for special commissions and stuff because they are so expensive, and because I don't want to waste them. Now, speaking of wasting though, and again, I don't have the tool to do it now. Actually, I can do it live. Copics come with refill. They don't come with. You can buy Copic refills. Jerry's Artorama and Dick Blick I found are the best places to buy the Copic refills. So you get a tube like this, unscrew it, and then you'll see the ink is right there, a little drop cap. And then what you do is you drip a few drops onto your marker. What'll happen then is you'll let this sit for a bit and let the ink, I'm just screwing back on. You'll let the ink, that's my doorbell, sorry. You'll let the ink soak into the marker a little bit to get into the reservoir. And eventually, in a couple hours, you'll come back and have a nice dark, rich marker color again. Again, Copics are fantastic for blending. You can create a whole spectrum of amazing things with them. I definitely recommend them if you want to try them out. They can be a little pricey. Like, they're definitely expensive. If you can utilize a coupon or find a sale, that's great. If you're still a little the Copic the Prismacolors can be expensive too, but not as expensive as Copics. They are, again, phenomenal. They blend well too. They're great. Again, you can find coupons for these guys, and they all come in different sets. The Bianos, these guys, these definitely come in sets. I found them on Amazon. They're less expensive. They're totally less expensive. They come in different sets. You can get a gray tone set, like you see here. I actually found a flesh tone set up there, and then they have multiples of like a whole bunch of rainbow colors, and they really weren't that expensive at all. So definitely something you might want to try out, especially if you're not sure or you're just starting. And hey, like I said, Crayola makes a box of markers that you can have fun with, and you can even use dollar store markers. Doesn't matter. Try it out. People are like, oh, can I use? So they use, and I hear somebody, I can hear their voice. Do they use Crayola markers when they're making comic books? Obviously not. I mean, that would be cool, but obviously not. But when you're starting out and you're having fun, or if you just want to have fun, you don't have to use the super expensive, crazy stuff. It doesn't matter. Make art, have fun, get pretty, do great stuff. Now, we're going to stick with color, but we're going to jump into, and I'm going to use more colors. This is a style of watercolor pen that I discovered at Michael's, actually, here on Long Island, but they're everywhere. They're called the Ecoline brush pen. Oh, and I'm kicking cameras and stuff. These are absolutely phenomenal. I love these things. Because what happens is, and we're going to go over there. No, we're going to stay here. You can brush in. You can even blend with them a little bit. But or you can get really thin lines, or depending on the pressure that you put on them, you can get different colors, different weights, different stuff. That's kind of a teal. See how you can get it darker, lighter, and then even with the darker one, if I wanted to splash it a little bit and have some fun with that, they're water-based too. So these are incredibly fun. You can twist the cap off. And pour more water into there and spread the colors out. I have a few like that. And you can spread the colors around and they mix pretty well. They are water-based, so when you use them on a Bristol board like this, you have to be careful. Some of the paper will start to come up. They're better used on a watercolor paper, so be aware of that. But these are absolutely phenomenal. In fact, I added water to this yellow one just the other day, and you can see it's a little thinner. And it even has some green in it because from my finger. But they blend phenomenally well, and they're a lot of fun. So definitely 10 out of 10, recommend. Have fun with those. Moving right along. We're going to talk about one of the last things I wanted to talk about, and then I'm going to draw something for you guys with using all this stuff really fast. These are brush pens. These are ink brush pens. These are done by Pentel. I absolutely love them. What it is this is an ink reservoir. There's ink in here. It'll look like, good. It'll look like this in the pack. And then what'll happen is you will take this part, screw it on, and then you're able to squeeze and get ink to flow out. This one's almost dead, so but you can get different effects and inking and coloring and stuff like that. It is absolutely phenomenal, and you can find that anywhere on Dish List. I actually found mine. I found the pack that I have now. I found on Amazon, but I found these on Jet Pens. Jet Pens is fun because it'll also have a lot of. In fact, I'll keep this out for a second. It'll have a lot of the brands, like you can try out a lot of stuff, but it's not. There is super expensive stuff, but there's also stuff that's really fun and it'll fit your budget. There's a couple other things in there that are on Jet Pens that are a lot of fun. The Sumi inks, kind of the Japanese inks, and the ink pens, so you can brush with them and make all sorts of fun ink wash things like that. Or if you just want to darken in with the inks, they have colors as well. Jet Pens is a fun place to even just go explore and check out different things. Lots of interesting things going on there. Jerry's and Dick Blick are where you're going to go. They're solid, knowledgeable. They know what's going on. They will get you whatever you need. And I'm telling you whatever you need. It's like supplies, furniture for art, whatever you need. Blick is definitely, and Jerry's definitely 10 out of 10 recommend. Obviously, Amazon, you're going to go for anything because Amazon. Here on Long Island, the art stores to go to, they're craft stores, but with the good art departments are Michael's and Hobby Lobby. Both of them, I would suggest knowing what you're looking for before you go in, only because just it's good to walk in with that knowledge. It just is. You could get lost and sometimes you won't get help. And also their paint departments are phenomenal, canvas and things like that. But again, I would need a 3-hour-long panel if I wanted to talk about paint and all that stuff. So I won't. I won't do that to you guys. However, what I will do to you guys is we're going to do a little drawing. We're going to do a little drawing, just a little one. And because I have a lot of things going on right now. I have some comic books that are going to be starting up on Kickstarter in a few weeks. I also have a lot of stuff. Fat Guy Inc. We've been doing a lot of sales. Oh, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about really quickly. I almost forgot, and that's a shame. I'm a bad person. For all our Tropicon fans, I'm doing a sale on my Facebook page. So if you go here, right there to this one, I'm doing a print sale. I'm extending you guys a Sunday Fun Day Fat Guy Inc. print sale. It's normally prints at $10 each or 3 for $20. But today, for you guys, up until 11:59 tonight, Tropicon fans, everybody on this live, mention this live or mention Long Island Tropicon, and you will get 4 prints for $20. Great deal. But also part of this deal, it's a thing I like to do at cons because it's a lot of fun. I like to do $10 sketches, meaning a sketch this size, which is 6 inches by 9 inches, like this Stormtrooper right here. I would draw for you in black and white with a splash of color for $10. And then the prices go up accordingly. Like if you wanted it to be in full color, kind of like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Oh, that's not it. Kind of like this Totoro drawing that I did. This would be $20. And that sale is extended to you guys as well. So please, please, please take advantage, have some fun, make some money off of me, have some, get some art. It'll be fun. The third thing that I'd like to announce, it's a big deal for me, and I only have a few minutes left, so I want to quickly talk about this while I draw it. I am going to produce an art book in the next few months, and it's going to be related to, and then you guys have seen me draw a lot of it. In fact, you guys have said I do a lot of Day of the Dead stuff, Dia de los Muertos, sugar skulls and things like that. I do quite a bit of that kind of artwork. And I've decided to do a Day of the Dead art book, and that's going to be coming out. I'll be dropping hints and ideas from it in the next few weeks, but that's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know if we're going to make it part of the Kickstarter or what I'm going to do, but it's going to be there and it's going to be amazing. And I really hope you guys get to enjoy it when it comes out. Please feel free to ask me questions about it. Now, I should be using my circle thing, but I'm not, because I'm just not. I'm going to draw a quick little something here for you guys. Hopefully I can get some color into it. And there was an artist I followed. Her name was Sylvia G. And she's just an amazing artist. And she did a lot of this stuff. And it really kind of inspired me to want to do a lot of it myself. And I got into the being myself, that I'm Colombian and Puerto Rican. I got into the all the aspects of this kind of artwork, and I just fell in love with it, and I want to do an art book. So, and then I'm even going to go so far as to say, if and when I finish this, I probably won't finish this here on the show, but I'm going to keep going with this. And the first person, if anybody takes advantage of the sale that I have going on, the first person to do so will get this for free. I will throw it in. So there you go. And that's just for our Tropicon friends and family here, because I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate that we've all been stuck at home. I want to thank anybody who's been out there working during this time, because you guys are amazing. You've kept us up, and I appreciate that as well. If you have any questions about any of the supplies, or if you want to talk about the supplies that you like to use, I especially want to hear about that. I want to know what you guys use, because I love hearing about what other people use. Please shoot me a message. Again, that's all the socials there, so you guys can tell me what's going on, what's happening, what you use, what you want to use, what you think you should use, all those fun things, and it would be great. I have 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna stop the drawing for a second, and I'm just gonna come back over here. Again, this is where we found everything. Dick Blick, Jerry's, and Jet Pens are 3 amazing websites for art supplies. They won't let you down. Obviously, Amazon is Amazon. I mean, come on. If you want to get in the store and check stuff out, Hobby Lobby and Michael's always work, especially here on Long Island. They do have some online stuff, but I prefer them in the store. But luckily, they both always have coupons, so check those out. Some of the brands that we were talking about. Obviously, Copic being the big brand. Amazing, definitely top of the line, but not something that you need to use if it doesn't fit your budget or if it's not your thing. I don't even use it all the time because sometimes the budget just outside of it for me. But there's coupons and stuff. Prismacolor is the next one. I adore Prismacolor. They're fantastic. Again, super comparable. Same league, I feel, as Copic. Good quality, great stuff. Artist Loft is the Michaels brand. Not that it blends well and it works really well. They don't last as long as a Copic or a Prismacolor though, but they're still a great marker. The Blick Studio marker is phenomenal. I put it right up there with Prismacolors. They're fantastic. And Blick is usually always having a sale. You can go to blick.com, or if you're here on Long Island, they have the Carl Place store, which is amazing. And they also have a store in Soho that I visit, which is gigantic. And the staff is incredibly knowledgeable. The Biennios are fantastic. I found those on Amazon. They work really well. They blend pretty okay. They don't last super long as like a Prismacolor, but they're a great pen on a great price, and it's a great place to start out. Staedtler is my preferred pencil. I know that's weird to say, but I just like it's just a solid pencil that you get good. It's just a good pencil, a good brand. But again, use whatever pencil you want. Dollar store pencil, doesn't matter. Use whatever pencil you want. Definitely would recommend the Holo kneaded eraser and one of these, the polymer erasers. That's a Pentel. One of each. Definitely a good thing to use. Canson is, again, the paper, the Bristol board that I prefer. You can get the recycled brand, so that's good for the planet. But you could also get the regular brand. They just have good weights, good sizes. They're pretty phenomenal. Again, Tech pens. I usually use the Microns. Ink, I use the Liquitex. The Pentel, the brush pen that I showed you before, was great. And if you're going traditional, making traditional comic kind of stuff, the traditional Jack Kirby kind of way, the Hunt 102 Crow Quill is the industry standard for when you're doing the dip pens. Like I stabbed myself with it, like this. I actually prefer the Tachikawa G pen and the Tachikawa nib holder. The Leader make the same things of these things. They're fantastic. That's where I use my Liquitex inks. However, the Leader also uses an ink, so feel free to do that. I'm going to switch this over so you can see my beautiful face again. All right, that's me, my pretty face. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me around. I really appreciate it. I know I don't have a lot of time left on this, so I want to say thank you. I want to again thank Patrick and Tropicon for having me. Want to wish you all very well. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you learned some things from this and you got to enjoy some of the things that I showed you. And again, I'm not telling you what to use. I'm just letting you know what I use. You can shop wherever you want and use whatever you want. It really is, it's art. You're supposed to have some freedom and have some fun with it and really enjoy yourself that way. And if you use different things than I do, please let me know, because I love checking out different art supplies. That's the thing, that maybe not once you start out, but once you've been drawing or painting or whatever for a while, ask any artist. We tend to really like to hoard art supplies and to pick up things and try new things and check out art supplies all over. It's really a habit all of us have. I mean, during this quarantine, I wasn't worried. The one thing I really wasn't worried about at all was art supplies. I had tons. I mean, I'll give you a quick, see if we can do this really fast. I know I'm on a countdown. I mean, I'm art supplied out. And yes, there's tons of toys. Actually, I did want to mention that. Lots of folks use, I use toys for my anatomy and stuff. But anyway, that's where you can find me. That's where I want you to find me. The Instagram is probably the best place, but the Facebook is where you can go and get the sale. And again, this will be a story on my Instagram, so you can check it out. It's a highlight. Whoa, what'd I do? I don't understand the internet. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I want to thank Patrick and Tropicon again. I want y'all to be safe. I can't wait to see you guys soon. Again, my name is Pete. I'm from Fat Guy Inc. Brendan says hi too. The rest of the guys in the Artist Club say hi too. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. And so far, the panels have been great. I can't wait to see the rest of the panels. I can't wait to see the cosplay contest. Tropicon rocks, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.